Okay, this will be an interesting one. Okay, let's see what we can do with it. This will be an interesting one. It's a bit funny one we're doing. But then most of the things I do are funny things to use on a photocopier, folks. Yeah. Let's see what we have. We have here a box of haberdashery pins. So yeah, these are the pins. I could probably give these to my mum, who likes to sew every now and then. She loves haberdashery. She does. It's one of the things that she used to do lots of when she was young. She doesn't do it very often now, but I'm pretty sure she did mention it fairly recently. Haberdashery shops are really strange places. They have a certain old world charm. I didn't get this from a haberdashery shop. I did get it from a cheap shop, but haberdashery stores do have a certain feel about them, a certain spiritual presence, like an old-fashioned sort of feel from the old days, like when I was a kid. I feel a sense of strange connection when I walk into a haberdashery store. There's not many of them around any day in this day and age, but there are some that you see every now and then, and it's just a strange feeling you get when you walk into such a place. It just feels really old, and it's funny feeling to describe. Very nostalgic. It reminds me of my childhood living in Queensland, in Cairns to be precise. Now that looks really quite nice. Living in a place in North Queensland called Cairns, and Mum used to go to the haberdashery store a lot when we were living there. It just brings back memories. It just reminds me so much of my childhood. It's just a strange feeling, and you just can't get that feeling very often these day and age. What am I doing? So yeah, you just don't get that feeling as much with new shops. With old shops, you just get this lovely nostalgic feeling that you wish could go on forever. Well, that's how I used to feel about it. But I don't feel the sense of longing that it goes on forever, but I still feel the old world charm of such a place like a haberdashery. Just like old arcade shops. There were some arcade shops in the suburb of DY in Sydney, and basically they had an old world feel to them. They reminded me again of my life in Queensland. And there was even a shop called Spotlight that was there, and that again, they sell haberdashery and other homewares, and that place just has that nostalgic feel, and you just can't get that. You can't buy that feeling. That feeling just happens to be there in the shop. It's a beautiful feeling to a certain extent. As I said, I used to wish it could go on forever. I don't have that longing to that extent now, but basically it's a very strange feeling you get when you walk into one of these shops. So I'm just doing it both 1, 2, 3. But yeah, I don't think you can buy that kind of old world charm. I think it's just something that happens to be there, and it's either there or it's not there. But basically, yeah, you just get that feeling with old shops that you don't get with brand new ones. Now that looks nice. I like that bit there. So I'm thinking that's going to be the centre of our job. But yeah, you just can't buy that feeling, and those shops that I was telling you about, it. All the shops, all these arcade shops, I think there might be one still standing, but I think all of them or most of them have been demolished and new developments have come into their place. There is one set of shops that I think might still be standing, but I haven't been there lately, so I don't know if they've been demolished as well. And it was like it had like a full-on fluorescent lit ceiling. The ceiling was like full of fluoro tubes, full of fluoro lights, and their fluoro tubes. And yeah, and that looked like it was circa 1970s. And basically, yeah, that's a nice place too, but I think it's probably gone as well. So, you know, these horrible developers like to destroy things just to make money. You can't buy that old world charm. And now that it's gone, you know, I just think, fuck. It's not the same anymore. It's not the same, you know, you don't get that same feeling that you get you don't get that with new shops. I think I forgot to switch on mirror image. No, I didn't. Sorry, folks. But basically, you just don't get that feeling with a brand new shopping development. Sure, there's some shopping developments that have that 70s or 60s look. Don't get me wrong. It's nice to see the retro, and maybe in the future they'll become memories for some young child when they grow up. But it's not quite the same as the original stuff that we had there. Anyway, that looks interesting. I'm actually wondering if maybe we can do a switcheroo. Maybe a switcheroo. But basically, you just can't buy that kind of charm. You just can't buy it, folks. It's just something that is either there or it's not. And basically, those shops in the suburb of DY had something special about them. Even though they were old and scungy and looked like they were ripe for demolition and redevelopment, it's not the same. When you lose that, there's a really beautiful library circa 1966. Hope it doesn't get demolished. So, yeah, it's a lot of nice places. Anyway, I'm actually thinking that looks better as a switcheroo. I think now we can finally call this demo quits.